You think you need to have the answer. You only need to stop pretending you do. Montaigne struck 3 words onto a medal. What do I know? One tired father learned their weight at bedtime. His daughter asked where her grandmother had gone. He opened his mouth to give the usual comfort. Heaven, a better place. The soft and ready lie. Instead, 3 smaller words came out. I don't know. The room did not fall apart. Something in his chest, held tight for years, let go. She nodded, as if she had wanted the truth. And the man who knew nothing felt, strangely, lighter. He had braced for her tears, or a harder question. Neither came. The truth, it seemed, was enough. We are taught that not knowing is a failing. The parent must know. The teacher, the doctor, the boss. Somewhere we decided that answers are what make us adults. That a shrug is a small kind of abandonment. So we perform a certainty we have never once felt. We answer questions we have no business answering. We nod along in meetings, in clinics, in our heads. You have felt this way in 100 small rooms. And the performing is exhausting in a way we rarely name. It costs far more than being wrong ever could. 3 old voices offer a stranger, softer idea. That not knowing might be the more honest place to stand. And that honesty, it turns out, is a kind of rest. In 1571, a French nobleman climbed a tower and stayed. Michel de Montaigne was 38 and done with public life. His closest friend had died young, 8 years before. When Labotie died, Montaigne lost his second self. He said their friendship had no explanation but itself. Because it was he. Because it was I. After that loss, certainty felt like a childish thing. Grief had shown him how little he understood anything. So he retreated to a round room above his fields. 1,500 books lined the curved wooden shelves. Across the beams overhead, he painted his favorite sayings. Most of them said, "In some way, I am not sure." One Greek word among them simply meant, "I suspend judgment." He had a medal struck with a pair of scales. Under the scales, he said his question. What do I know? Not a boast, a question he never stopped asking. Montaigne invented a new kind of writing to hold it. He called each piece an essay, an attempt, a trial, not a lecture from a man who had arrived, a record of a mind still honestly wandering. He wrote about fear, friendship, thumbs, cannibals, and sleep. He studied one subject above all others, himself. I do not paint being, he said. I paint the passing, and on every subject he reached the same soft edge. This is what I have seen. I could be wrong. 4 centuries later, Sarah Bakewell counted his answers. She found one question running quietly beneath them all. Not what is true, but simply how to live. Her book carries a long and honest subtitle, A Life in One Question and 20 Attempts. Montaigne never closed that question. That was the whole point. Later, plague swept through the city he was set to govern. He did his duty, then admitted its plain limits. He never pretended to know how to save them. He offered no grand cure, only steady human sense. He lived well by refusing to pretend he was sure. 1400 years earlier, another man wrote to himself. The year was around 175. He wrote at night, in a tent, on a frontier. Outside, the Roman legions waited for the war to resume. Inside, the most powerful man alive doubted almost everything. His name was Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the known world. He could have claimed to know. Everyone expected it of him. Instead, he filled a private notebook with quiet reminders. He wrote it not to publish, but to survive. The notes were medicine he made for his own mind. One line has outlived his entire empire. You always have the option of having no opinion. Nothing, he wrote, forces you to form a view. The emperor gave himself permission not to decide, to face a thing and say, I do not yet know. Everything we hear, he reminded himself, is opinion, not fact. A story the mind tells and then believes. So he held his judgments loosely, like borrowed coins. He did not need to be right about every man. Half his peace came from the opinions he refused. The man who could command anything commanded himself to wait. And in that waiting, something in him went quiet. You know this wait, even if you never named it. The meeting where you nodded at a word you missed. The clinic where you pretended to follow every term. the child who asked why and would not stop. Each time, a small voice urged you to fake it, to fill the silence before anyone noticed the gap. We treat I don't know as a confession of weakness, as if certainty were the rent we pay for respect. But watch what the pretending actually does to a person. It seals you off from ever truly learning again. A mind that already knows cannot be taught a thing. Certainty asks you to defend a self you outgrew. The unknowing mind stays young enough to keep changing. You guard the answer instead of following the question. And the guarding is lonely, tense, and quietly endless. Think of the last time you admitted you were lost. Something in the shoulders quietly comes back down. The lie was heavier than the truth all along. Montaigne saw the arrogance hiding behind all that certainty. The cruelest men, he found, were often the most sure. He lived through decades of holy war and burning. Certainty, he understood, was what lit those fires. Doubt has never once burned a heretic at a stake. The humble mind leaves room for another to be right. Come back to the father at the edge of the bed. He did not give his daughter an answer that night. He gave her something rarer, an honest grown-up. A man unafraid of the dark, he could not explain. Children can smell a lie, dressed up as comfort. What steadies them is calm inside the not knowing. He was teaching her that uncertainty is survivable, that you can sit inside a question without breaking. Years from now, she will face her own dark rooms. She will not have his answers, because he had none. She will have something better, a way to stand there. This is the comfort no one ever tells you about. Not the relief of finally holding the answer. The deeper relief of laying the pretending down, of admitting what every honest mind already suspects. You do not know how your life turns out. You do not know if the choice was right. You never fully knew, and you carried on anyway. Montaigne died with his one question still open. Marcus died on campaign, doubting, and at peace. Neither man solved living. Both of them lived it. Neither left us a manual for living well. They left us permission to stop performing that we knew. Bakewell shows a man who kept revising to the end. So here is the strange gift buried inside, admitting it. The words I don't know are not a wall. They are a door you were always allowed to open. Behind it is not failure, but room to breathe. The certain man defends a house with no windows. The honest one walks freely in the open air. A window is only a place you cannot control, but it is also the only way the light enters. Your daughter will forget what that death actually meant. She will remember that her father did not flinch, that he sat with her inside the dark unknown. That not knowing did not have to be frightening. The answer was never the thing you owed her. Your presence in the mystery was the whole gift. Montaigne's beams still ask it in fading paint. What do I know? The honest reply is not much. And that, at last, is enough to rest on. Good night.